Okay, how do I even start this video? Okay, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but we've got a pretty okay chapter of One Piece this week. Okay, focus. This chapter 1010 has lived up to its name. It's a 10 out of 10. Who do I talk about first? Luffy or Zoro? You know what? Let's just go through this epic bit by epic bit. The main takeaway for me is that Luffy is about to become a legit Yonko. His realization that Conqueror's Haki is more than just a way to tame animals and knock out fodder is a pretty big game changer. And I'm convinced we're about to see him catch up with Kaido and Big Mom. And at the same time, how can I not put Zoro on the thumbnail a second time in a row after he delivers his first Ashura in over 500 chapters, cuts Kaido, and is confirmed to have Conqueror's Haki all along. And I feel a bit bad for Law and Kid, who have been on a real run as well these last few chapters, with Law carrying the entire group to this point of the battle in the first place, while Kid and Killer casually decide to take on Big Mom by themselves. So there is a lot to talk about indeed. I'm still shaking a little bit, but nonetheless, grab yourself some coffee, lean back, and let's talk about chapter 1010 of One Piece. Okay, let's actually start in chronological order here. I really love how close Big Mom actually came here to getting knocked out of the game. I personally expected either Big Mom herself or her crew to somehow get her out of the situation. But in the end, it takes a very disappointed looking Kaido to free Prometheus from Zoro's attacks to save her from falling into the water, all while taking another blast by Law. And I think it's really worth highlighting just how many attacks Kaido has tanked so far, with a majority actually penetrating his defense. This man is definitely living up to his name so far. Of course, it wasn't only us that expected Big Mom to survive this. Well, just like Zoro, we all were kind of hoping to somehow actually see this go through. As Kid mentions, the original goal here was to separate the two and keep them from teaming up in the first place. And for me, Kid and Killer being prepared to take her on 1v1 is the first time that Kid actually shows us some real proof that he has the right to be called Luffy's rival. Of course, he has to win first, but should he manage to do so, that would of course be a major win for him as well, basically making him the replacement for Big Mom, while Luffy would be that of Kaido within the Yonko ranks. Now, another interesting detail here is Big Mom's interaction with her homies. First of all, as someone who loves Greek mythology, Prometheus hating on Zeus is just way too specific a reference to be by accident. Also, not that we needed any further proof, but Zeus will be with Nami after this arc, no doubt about it. What I really did find interesting here as well, of course, is the favor that Prometheus asks of his master. The only idea I have right now, given the fact that something is happening with the clouds, is that Big Mom is about to create a second Zeus, one that is a lot scarier than the one before. Also, in general, we haven't seen her use her soul abilities all that much so far in this battle, so that might also make for some interesting twists in the end. In any case, this is now the chance for Kid to actually shine for the first time in forever, so I do hope we get to see some of this fight later on. But as awesome as this all was, let's get to the even more juicy part of this chapter. With Luffy still knocked out from Kaido's ridiculous barrage of attacks last chapter, Kaido prepares to deal the final blow. Of course, however, if Zoro is known for one thing, it's standing up for his captain despite being on the brink of death himself. Now, being well aware of this fact himself, Zoro announces to Law that this will be his last attack. And finally, we get what we've all been denied for way too long. A serious all-out attack by Zoro with Ashura using Enma. And managing what only one other man has done before him, he cuts Kaido wide across the chest. A wound that will definitely leave a lasting scar. My only teeny tiny complaint I have with this otherwise godly scene is that I think Oda could have sunk at least a little bit more effort into that image of Ashura. While Zoro looks fantastic as always, That white figure in the background does look a little bit derpy, I feel, but I'm sure that the anime will set this straight. Apart from that, however, this is exactly what I wished for Zoro to happen. He was a super important asset in this fight, showing that he can actually and easily fight the big guns alongside with his captain, and rightfully is acknowledged by Kaido. And that's already such a major feat for him. Zoro is my favorite character, but it was always clear to me that Luffy would actually have to be the one that will fight on level with Kaido and in the end defeat him. Don't get me wrong, Zoro is ridiculously powerful by now, but not quite at that level yet. And to me, that's fine. How awesome is it that there is more than one person in the Straw Hat crew that can actually wound a Yonko? No need for Zoro to kill or even defeat Kaido by himself. And Oda sweetens that fact even more for us by revealing something we've all been waiting for forever. Yes, Zoro does indeed have Conqueror's Haki. Seriously, what more could you want out of this fight? And the fact that Kaido, despite this crazy attack, doesn't fall, and that Zoro is pretty much done with this fight after he and Law have to take a Thunder Bagua for the first time, just shows us what Kaido has always been promised to be: the strongest creature in the world. So now, of course, let's delve into the Conqueror's Haki thing here a bit. Luffy, who at this point just deserves all the respect in the world for all he's done in this fight already, gets up and has one of the most important insights in the story so far. Kaido, Big Mom, and Co. don't use armament haki to defend themselves. They cover themselves with Conqueror's Haki. And with that, he proceeds to land the first number of hits on Kaido that look like they might mean real trouble for him. Way more than even Red Rock. Now, this fact about Conqueror's Haki explains quite a lot, but also creates some new questions as well. First of all, I think we, and especially also Luffy, finally get why everyone at Marineford was so shocked at seeing him using Conqueror's Haki. Until now, it was more of a nice thing to have, but nothing that was actually useful in a real fight against a strong opponent. Now, however, we finally know that Conqueror's is actually pretty much a requirement to even play on that level in the first place, as it gains a whole range of benefits when used correctly. Big Mom and Kaido pretty much render themselves indestructible by coating themselves in it 24/7. No wonder Big Mom was more vulnerable when her will was weakened by seeing Mother Caramel's picture crushed. And it also explains why Roger and Whitebeard didn't even touch when clashing. They were just putting Conquerors versus Conquerors into their weapons and letting only these coatings touch in the first place. I'm actually pretty convinced that if you hit someone with that who isn't coated in Conquerors, it would deal some pretty devastating damage. Pretty much exactly what Thunder Bagua is all about. Also, by the way, that definitely puts Shanks in a whole new light here as well. And so, even though it looks like Luffy's hurting Kaido without touching him, he is actually touching Kaido's coating with his own. And now that I think about it, it's actually also interesting that Rayleigh didn't teach Luffy about it. But as he and Yogoro explain, this is actually something that you might have to just realize and learn yourself in the heat of battle. That leaves me with two more important questions though. First, is this in a way related to Ryo? Because the concepts look very similar, but it seems to be based on armament haki, right? So maybe they just complement each other? Or is this pretty much the same technique, but you're substituting armament with Conquerors? The second really important question I have is, how long exactly has Zoro been using his Conqueror's Haki that he evidently is pretty much unaware of? It seems pretty clear that it was Ashra that let Kaido realize it. So I wonder if Zoro already used some sort of it all the way back in Baratie, and that's why Mihawk actually saw so much potential in him. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Peace.